and it's just begun. As she puts her hand in mine, we wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. The laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild.
Hello, hello. Good afternoon. Technically here it is afternoon. It is 12:31 p.m. Central European Time. So, yeah. And it's Monday. I am live a little bit earlier than I normally do because I have an appointment later today, which means that also my live cannot be as long as I normally would be doing. Therefore, yeah, I have to kind of accommodate, and I thought I still want to go live and say hello to you guys, and do a bit of crochet. So my voice is still a bit off. I'm still been coughing for like 3+ weeks now, and believe me or not, I'm building a six-pack or something like that, because obviously coughing is rough. But yeah, here I am, and hopefully we will have some crocheting of fun. I have this skein of yarn that I started working on this weekend. I didn't have much time to crochet yesterday, so I didn't do a lot yesterday, at least not on this project. And this is where we are. I should actually have brought my weight scale. This is like the white witch's hat or beanie. This is the start of it. It's it looks narrow, but it does stretch due to the beanie. Oh, I see we had a zoom issue. So it does stretch, but when I take this one on, it's definitely only getting to like here. And this is the yarn I have left, which is about 40% of the full skein. So I am a little bit worried if I will be able to finish this. I am working it with a 5mm crochet hook, so that's an H hook for those using the US terms. The yarn I'm using is a brushed acrylic. It's 100% acrylic. It's named Sarah, and it's from the Vipa, which is like a store here in the Netherlands. 3.5 ounces to 220 some odd yards, basically, is what I have here. So yeah, I'm kind of curious if I will be able to finish it. I do like the color. It's this nice sort of teal color. And you may be able to see when I hold it up. You can see the brushed sort of texture on it. Hello, Sarah. Wonderful to see you this morning. I hope I feel better soon too. As said, it's luckily just coughing, which is really annoying. So I don't feel sick, except for every time I cough, I'm like reminded the fact that I'm coughing. So it is kind of annoying. But I can't really do much about it, I'm afraid. I have tea. Faithful mug of tea here. Today it is the Nijmegen Trots, which is a loose tea blend from the city of Nijmegen, which is about, yeah, how far would that be from here? It's like 10 minutes drive in a car, probably 15. It's like, I don't know, 8 kilometers or something like that. So that's probably like 6 miles, 5 to 6 miles. It's not too far. The loose tea blend has pineapple, raisins, um, cornflower petals, etc. It's quite nice. I guess that is why I'm trying to get this summer fresh feeling, even though it's really cold outside. It's like the wind is really cold. It feels really biting today, even though I'm sure it's not cold compared to many other places here around. But we will see, because I see Nightbot has peeked in chat. We could check how warm it is uh, in this area, but it feels really, really, really cold, I have to say. It says that it's a temperature of 36 degrees Fahrenheit or 2 degrees Celsius. The wind is blowing from, well, what would that be? East northeast at 4 miles per hour or 325 kilometers per hour, and the current humidity is 78. And then I conclude the city of Nijmegen is probably closer to 4 to 5 miles away, based on these measurement and distances. Um, but yeah, so it's just a really chilly feeling when you get outside. Sarah says they had an ice storm the other night, so they have had a really cold time as well. Yeah, it really sounds like it. Oh my goodness. Right now it's -1 degrees or 31 degrees Fahrenheit there. Though almost wind still, if I see it like this, like 2 miles per hour is really, really a low wind. That's nice. That's nice. Here the wind is really like, when you get into the wind, it's chilly. It's quite chilly. So what I thought to do was basically, let's work on this, and then we will see if I get to play Yanching or if I have to end the stream before then. I'm going to be here for a good 2 hours, 30 minutes, maybe 2.5 hours. Kind of depends how it goes. But in 3 hours, I have an appointment, so I'll be gone by then. That's how it is. Work related, amongst things. I do have a small project I can take on as one of my small companies, and they require a meeting for me to be able to start on the project. It's not a lot. It's just one of these many small things. As I said, I do have a small business on the side, which I've always had for like 15 years. I just haven't done a lot with it the last 3 years because I had a full-time job elsewhere, which I currently don't have anymore. So I'm, well, trying to figure out how not to end up broke, I guess. But what we'll do is we will turn on my dual camera view, and then we will flip it down, and we can see. But what I also could do first, I could show you how this one sits on me before we do that, so you can get an idea of what I mean, that I am concerned if I have enough yarn. So I'll just take off my headset. You might still be able to hear me through the mic, but maybe a little bit more distant. At least I hope you're able to hear me. But as you can see, it takes a bit before it covers my ears. And I had a feeling that even this is supposed to be the size of large, that that even this is supposed to be like large, extra large. It feels more like the medium. And I'm using like the yarn weight they referred to based on the crochet hook size, etc. in the pattern. The only difference is actually I sized up like half a hook size. So I went with the 5mm instead of the 4.5mm. So it might not end up being something for me. I think this is going to be like more like a teenager child beanie, I guess. We'll see how far we get. I do have like a measurement sheet that kind of indicates based on stuff, but we will see how far we get. I think that is basically the goal, because I really don't feel like frogging this. And when I read the pattern, it said I should have enough yarn, but they didn't indicate what yarn they used. They just said, use a yarn that requires a 4.5mm crochet hook. And this yarn requires a 4.5mm crochet hook. And it is also lengthwise within the specified lengths that they listed in the pattern. So maybe I'll be surprised, but I have a feeling we will enter the world of yarn chicken. So let's see, what I'm doing now is we'll go to this screen and we'll flip it down. And then, la 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 la, we have my working station here. And I am wearing the alpaca poncho, for those being curious. The In-Lines Alpaca Poncho, which I made last spring. I was actually working on it this time last year. I do have my little yarn spindle. I actually hope it's not too loose, the skein, for it to go on. We will have to find out. It seems it should work. Coolio. It's actually quite simple once you get started on this pattern. So, like, once you're into it, it's basically like 3 front post, 3 back post, 3 front post, 3 back post, and they're all double crochets. But you do start each round with a chain 2, which does not count as a stitch. So that's basically how it's been going. And then at the very end, I think the last 5 rows, I'm supposed to do regular ripping, like so front post, back post alternating, if I see it like that. At least if I recall right. I will have to check once more when we get there. But the thing is also, what concerns me is I only have 1 more row left, and then I should start do the ripping, which also just doesn't add up. So I guess I am actually just going a little bit of freeway on this, and then I guess I was just inspired by the pattern, but I can't follow it fully because clearly it doesn't want to become what it was meant to become. But it's okay. We'll make, I guess, a small beanie, not a big beanie. And what I wanted to pick up, I should have picked that up before we started this live, but maybe I'll do that in a couple of rows. I do have my head mannequin, and that is a little bit smaller than my head, and actually that might be more appropriate to check with. But yeah, I have this feeling I will probably need more yarn before I'm done. We will have to see where we head and where we end. I have the feeling, Sarah, that you are up really early this morning. Oh, yes. So Sarah told me she is currently putting a picot border on her heart pillow, and it's actually more difficult to crochet on an item that's already stuffed. And yes, I could imagine actually that it would be. Oh my goodness. Are you then also like heading early to bed, or are you just more like a bit of insomniac? Because Sarah says she always wake up between 3 and 5 a.m. Oh my goodness. I'd sleep at that time, but that's more like 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern, I guess. Since we are here 6 hours ahead of Eastern time, for those being curious. So yeah. But with the length I add by each row here, I do have this feeling that it may not completely end up as desired. But I'll be okay with it being like a children's-sized beanie, to be honest. I didn't start making this to use it myself. I just tend to use my own head for measurements. Sarah says she has issues sleeping on and off usually, but goes to bed anywhere between 8 and 12 p.m. It really depends, yeah. I don't have issues sleeping. I have a big sleeping heart. I have issues waking up in the morning. But yeah, I wonder if that's gonna change. People say like Like, if I talk with my mom-in-law, she says she sleeps like 4 hours every night at best when she's good. And I'm like, how can she survive on that? But apparently it's her normal. And I know my mom has been having really rough sleeping times lately, but that's because she's having a medicine that's causing some insomnia, so she's having sleeping pills. Unsure if she's still using them. I know she did it 1 or 2 nights just to get a bit of help. Um, there are 72 stitches all the way around, by the way, in this pattern. And I just slowly increased. And it worked up really nicely. I do definitely have some inspirations for maybe future designs, should one want to go that direction. But right now, my main goal is basically just to use up the skein and hopefully have a nice beanie, even if it's more like a small size than than a large size. Because that would be one more skein used in my stash. And it's the only skein I have of this type of yarn. So, I need, I sort of need it to work up into something that would be nice. I was wondering about headbands, but at the same time, I guess I was like, what if I don't have enough yarn? And I think there's enough here for us as like a teen-sized beanie, to be honest. But not for grown large. Maybe I should find my chart. I had this chart which was so kind in listing sizes of like X inches would give you this, and X inches would give you this, and so on. But yeah, so far this is simple. It's just basically 3 front post double crochets and then 3 back post double crochets all the way until you reach the end. And when we're at the end of the round, I slip stitch into the first stitch of the previous row. But I do that, I wouldn't say with a hidden join, but I do actually put it in a bit different way, which kinda helps making a bit more seamless. I will see if I can show you when we get there. It's like over here, so I do need to keep a little track. Really what I should be doing is I should be picking up my head mannequin, because technically 2 more rows will in this row, and then 1 more I should start looking at the end ribbing, which just doesn't add up to me. I have the feeling it will be too small. So we may have to do it a little bit on our own accord. In other words, we follow the design idea, but we do it a little bit different. Which I'm fine with, I guess. Da, da, da. And yeah, I jumped into the poncho today because it is chilly outside. My mom-in-law was by a bit earlier today. She needed some help. And when I opened the door, I was like, oh my goodness, it's cold outdoor. We may also experience, while we are in this live, we may experience some funny sounds on the windows here because we should have our window, like our windows get washed by company once every, I think it's like about 3 months. And we basically have option to pay somebody to wash our windows on the outside. It's not too expensive, and they do both the ground floor and the upstairs for us. And then we only have to wash them indoor, which kind of is nice because washing them on the first floor outstairs kind of requires us to get a ladder, which we don't have technically. And I'm not really comfortable standing 2 meters above ground on a ladder trying to wash windows. And I probably wouldn't do in the winter either. So I'm kind of happy we're just paying for getting that done. Yeah, that's nice. It's quite nice somebody actually does it for us. It's I think we pay like 25 euros for the whole house, which is like 2 windows in the kitchen. Then we have the hallway where we have 3 windows, which is technically more like 7 because we have like this line of windows on top. And then we have also 2 windows on that side upstairs, and we have the bathroom window up there. That's like 10. And then we have 12 there, 15, and then upstairs it's like 20 windows, maybe. Decent sized windows. Oh yay. I just had a message. I just had a message. 1, 2, 3. So basically this is where I will have to do the slip stitch in. And that is what I'm gonna do now. And then what I started doing the slip stitch, I just pull it through here instead of slip stitching it, because it kind of makes a much nicer closing here than a slip stitch does. So that's basically what I do when I join the round. Instead of slip stitching, I just pull it through. Then I start on the back side. So that is what you get here, which is almost similar to everything else. So that's my way of doing it instead of a slip stitch. I think it looks so much nicer. Does take a bit of effort. But as I said, I'm just going to read this message because it was actually from my mom, and she did mention that she had an appointment today. So I'll just apologize for a moment. It's a nice beanie. Sarah says she needs her man to come pressure wash the outside of the house. Live with her man right now. Yeah, well, that's a good idea too. So I like that the windows get cleaned. Let me just quickly check what they did here because it sounds not good. Oh goodness. So my mom has issues with sarcoidosis, and she had a scan this morning. And they've seen that she has some liquids in her right lung, and this has to be drained, and therefore she has to be admitted to the hospital. So she's waiting to get admitted, which sucks actually. But at the same time, that might explain why she feels not good. So I'm just quickly writing her. Yeah, I could definitely use some prayers for my dear mom. She's she's a wonderful woman in so many aspects. I couldn't without. I'm not sure if I've reached to tell you guys last week on the live that I actually ordered my flight tickets to go home and visit. And in about a month, I will be heading to Denmark for like 5 days, which I'm really looking forward to. So that's awesome. But yeah, so I'm not too happy to hear that she has to get admitted. Luckily, healthcare in Denmark is really good. It's price-wise also very like, it's we don't need extra health insurances to get good health care. It's all covered by the taxes you pay automatically. Um, so I really like the Danish healthcare system in that sense. Um, so that is quite appreciative. Um, so yes, definitely prayers is useful. And I hope she's not going to be admitted for long because I doubt my dad is appreciative of having to be alone. So I will see if I can have a chat with her later. Or if they might have, I don't know, if he's probably been sent home to pick up things, or if she have things, or whatever. We'll have to see. Yeah. So yeah, I'll just basically continue around with these 3 double crochets in front post and then 3 back post double crochets. Um, Basically, how to get into the mode is to you start just normally with double crochets in a magic ring, for example, and then after you can well, you'll like do the first row. You'll do that as front post, like so you do like in the magic ring you do X amount of double crochets you need. In this case, I have 12 double crochets in the very top here of the magic ring, and then I did around each double crochet I did front post double crochet, and then between the double crochets of the previous row I worked in a double crochet to help increase. And the following row, around the double crochet where you increased, you also work a front post double crochet, and then between that you do the increases. It was actually quite simple. I could probably make some sort of tutorial on it, but in any case, for this I would first need to make sure, like, this yarn weight feels too light because of the fact that, it should have made it all the way, but oh well. So ideally what I think I might do when I finish this round is I will run upstairs and get my head mannequin just to see, because as I said, that head mannequin is smaller than my head. And my weight scale, because I do have a feeling that eventually this yarn chicken might be required. We will see. Oopsie daisy. So I do like the look of this, right? It's kind of nice in that sense, and it's basically just the same on the inside as it is on the outside. Except for the very top, it's a little bit different. Then it's nice on the outside and the very top. It shouldn't take me too long to pick up those things though. But that is what I am planning on doing. And then it would still be nice if we can manage to finish the one today. Just because, you know, it's one project done. And it is a project that I did start on after Friday's yarn talk. But that's okay. That's okay. So yeah, right now it's just back and forth, back and forth. Meanwhile, I was told that the attic had been emptied at my mom-in-law's. They are, as I said, working on packing everything down and moving stuff. We also went and got her a new closet, a clothing closet last week as well. Well, it's been ordered. It will first be delivered like next week, Tuesday. And then yeah, we have a few things still to do. But some things have slowly been started to be moved over. So that's also good. So let's see. Oh, we are almost at the completed round here. And I doubt these 2 extra added round has done much difference for when it comes to me being able to fit it. Because, as I said, I have the feeling that my head is too big for this exact model. But I really like how it's looking. It is really looking nice. But I have a feeling that this yarn is not gonna cut it. What also is an option is simply if I don't make this all the way to the end with this yarn, I will see if I eventually maybe have a different yarn I can use to make the edge I like and simply make the bottom in a different yarn. That could be an option, though it would be nicer if I could complete it as it would be. That would be so much nicer. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just quickly gonna pop you guys on the be right back video screen. I'm gonna pick up my weight scale to help me weigh the yarn and keep track of that. And I'm gonna pick up my head mannequin. So yeah, I will be right back with you guys.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take us higher. The night it's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. The laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild. The moonlight, summer sky, it was the best we had.
So, I fetched my friend here. And as you can see, my friend does have a smaller head than I do. I could use a little bit of a help for the height, but he's just gonna be a little bit low, and then I'll help him, I guess. So this would be my friend's look, which is still, he needs more, but it's not as bad as for me. This is how it looks at the top. That's nice, I think. I really like how it slowly grows out here. And you can do them even with more stitches, like if you think you need 13 as a foundation chain, etc., because then you have an extra stitch all the way around down here. That's definitely also possible. So this isn't too bad, you know, if his ears would be here. It just needs a bit more, but I still have a feeling we aren't going to have enough yarn. Weight scale. Let's see how much yarn we have left. We started with 100 grams, so 3.5 ounces. Right now I have 30 grams, which tells me that we probably won't have enough yarn. And then I need to find something I can use to replace this one with. In ounces, that would be a bit more than an ounce. If that gives you indication enough. So my feeling is this is not gonna happen. This is not gonna happen. So I need to actually find my... I have this gorgeous document showing stuff about sizing. So what we need to do is, because it does give, but that is kind of irrelevant if we can't make it long enough. Where is my measurement? There it is. And this sizing says that the hat height from top to bottom, boom, boom. So from here to here, it should be like almost 7 inches, which, well, obviously I won't be able to do because I don't have enough yarn. If it's a teen or adult and small, it should be 6 inches. And we have, according to this, it's 6 inches. I guess. But that doesn't add up with me, I guess. According to this, it's 6 inches right now. So it should fit a small child. But I really don't have the feeling it will. What would be the head circumference of this fella, actually? I don't know. But yeah, let's do it in inches because I do have a thing to measure inches with. And the thing I have for the measurement here, it's an inch-friendly thingy only. Oh, we need him a little bit larger. We will measure him around what seems to be the widest part of his head, which is, if I could also actually just decently hold on this measuring tape, because apparently I am not really good at this today. He's about 20.5 inches around, which makes him an adult medium. Yeah. But I feel somehow this won't cut it. It's not gonna cover the ears. So what to do? What to do? Think I'm just gonna continue, and then, you know, we'll add another, let's say, 2-ish rows. I could also just quickly check it here first on my own head before progressing. As I said, we have an ounce left. The problem is I only have that own skein. Oh, sorry about that. We are sort of getting to the ears. But I'm personally like a large when it comes to my hat. So yeah, we are not there yet. We are not there yet. We will flip this dual view around. I can flip it back down and continue some work. Let's see if we can do it. That was a little bit like that. And flip it over. Here we go. It's getting there. Definitely getting there. So I'm not sure, like, one thing is sure, the pattern isn't gonna cut it in the sense of, because now I'm supposed to do like 3 rows of ripping, but I have the feeling it's too soon with this yarn. I can always, so if I don't finish it with this, I have 2 choices, I think. Technically I have 3, but the least interesting choice is the frocking bit, right? I don't want to frock if I can prevent it. So I could option to A, hope that I bump into the yarn again at the store. And if that happens, I will buy a skein to be able to finish up the hat and use the remaining part of the skein maybe for a headband or something like that, because that requires less yarn. Or B, find a different yarn and make the brim of the hat in a different color in a different yarn. Or C, frog it, but C is not an option I like. So I do have 2 plans in the event that it won't be enough. So I think what I will do now is I will try to give it like, let's say, 2 more rows, and then we will see how it looks compared to that length. I think that seems like a good plan. At least it feels like a good plan. I could probably, in worst case, use like a more standard acrylic with it, but it just doesn't fully have the same effect. So yeah, it could be if, yeah, and then I might have to temporarily put it on hold if we don't finish it up, but that's okay. It would then be a very quick finish in the event that that we won't be able to finish it up. But it could also be that I just have enough yarn, that I just totally underestimated it. One thing is for sure, it won't be a perfect fit for me. And to that, I've come to acceptance, right? Like, I can accept that this beanie will not be made for me. And I'm not a big beanie wearer in any case. I'm more the headband type of person. So I guess that does help it. So in worst case, it's not the biggest issue. Yeah. Plus, it will give me an excuse, I guess, to buy yarn. Hallelujah. Who would have thought? Though I am generally trying to buy less because, well, we are all on a budget, aren't we? So, what is also I am going to have a trip to Germany in a bit more than 2 weeks' time. And that trip is like a 6 hours drive each way. And I may have to drive some of the way, which is okay. But when I'm not driving, I can crochet. So I have found the yarn, and I think I'm going to plan on starting on a new shawl, because then I only need to bring one skein with me, or one cake with me, which would be really nice. And I don't think I will have that much time that I will be able to finish it in any case. So that is kind of my plan. We will talk about that probably in a yarn talk video coming closer to it all. So I've planned for that. I also need to consider if and how I could bring Project with me home to Denmark in a month, because, well, I'll be going home on a visit. And depending on how my mom feels by then, maybe I will be able to go visit a yarn store or two. See if we can do some recording in the event. And if that's the case, then obviously I'll make a little video for you guys about that. Yeah, I should probably grab something to drink. If you guys haven't done it yet, don't forget to hydrate. It is very important that we do drink enough. Sometimes we can get consumed with what we do that we forget to drink. So I do recommend everybody to remember to grab their drink. The plan is also, of course, that I will be back on Wednesday, hopefully at my normal time with another live, hanging out with you guys. Need to figure out what we'll have to work on by then. Probably heading back on the butterfly migration poncho by then. We will have to see. Kind of depends on how everything flows here. And actually, I might have the opportunity to check if this yarn is available, because the store that I bought this yarn from is in the city of Nijmegen, and I know one thing. What I do know is I'm heading to an appointment at the hospital in a week from now, so next week, Monday. And after that appointment, I could visit the yarn store on the way back just to check if they have, in the event I run out of yarn. So actually, I'm quite happy that we started on this now, so I would know if I would have to drop by to check if they have what I need. Just in the event I don't have enough yarn. It could also be, as I said, before, that maybe there isn't indeed enough yarn. I've just been unsure due to the weight of it. We're almost getting where this round has been finished. What also could be said, so if the others are also front post and back post, I need to probably, at the end of this row, we will stop for a minute and read the pattern, because I do believe that's also front posts and back posts, and we may then, in that case, choose to measure the length of the rows and see how much would that be in inches, because yeah, it is a little bit of a gut feeling, some of this, right? Especially when you haven't done it before. For me, it's a new pattern, but I do like how it looks. So this is where we are now, and it is starting to look more like a hat. Hello, Suzanne. Welcome to this live this very early morning. It is 13:23, so 1:23 p.m. Central European Time. So if we take it and we measure from the top to the bottom, it's now, according to this, 6.5 inches, which I can't really believe should be enough compared to that. But it does stretch a bit and in multiple directions. So it is kind of actually starting to look like a beanie. Because after I did this, it's almost 7. Don't know if you can actually see that well enough, but let's see. Right? I started with a magic circle, and then I did 12 double crochets in the center up here. This is how it looks from the top. And I'm using a 5mm crochet hook. How much yarn do we have left? Because I am playing a bit yarn shaking, I'm afraid. How much yarn do we have left? We have 0.9 ounces, which equals 26 grams. Yeah, top down. So I started up here and then I did 12 double crochets and increased. Yeah, I could keep going. Also, the real question is, do I want to add the brim like they have, or do I just want to keep this double ridge brim? Like, could that work as a brim, or do you really want a different brim? But the problem is, Susan, this is the only yarn I have. Like, when this is up, it's done. Nothing left. So what I want to do is basically to say, round 21, chain 2, blah, 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 front post, back post, throughout the next 3, repeat 9 times. Half double crochets. Okay. Slip stitch into the next stitch so your working group comes out of the center front post of the group of 3. Aha. So basically we need 4 rows where it's, so what they suggest is you do a round of half double crochets around instead of double crochets to kind of help tightening up. I don't think it needs tightening, but cool. And then you need 4 rows of, so row 22, 23, 24, 25. 4 rows of alternating, so it gets no more like a normal ribbing. So the real question is, do we need a normal ribbing? Also, if I have 25 left here, that's about 5 rows. Then I would need to start do that now, I guess. Susan says no brim. It is pretty seamless, and also the way I join helps it make it seamless, because this is the joining seam, actually, what you can see here. Let's see if I can show it nicely. This would be your joining seam, what you see here. And what I do is, actually I can show you exactly what I'm doing. I'm just gonna pop it out. So this is like my last half double crochet, back post double crochet. So, and this is from the outside. So this is, I always work in the round, and this is always the right side outside. So I insert the hook from the back side of the loop here, and then I just pull through that working loop, and then I'll tighten up the yarn, and then I can continue work here. And I do a chain 2 to get the height started, but the chain 2 does not count as a stitch. So that's kind of how I make the almost seamless join here, which is really nice, I think. Well, I guess I could try to just see where it goes. If we just like continue and then don't make a ribbed hat, because it is sort of ribbed here, and it looks kind of okay at the bottom. I could always single crochet around, definitely. Definitely. Okay, we'll give it 1 more row, because I still don't think this is enough, at least not for my head. So it gets 1 more row. I am okay with the thought of not giving it the edge. And honestly, the thing is, I just, later read the pattern, and it's just a raw description because it's actually quite simple. I just read it later and I'm like, I'm not sure if it's needing it. it's a pattern on Ravelry. It's called White Edges or White Ridges. It's free. It's just what I helped get the inspiration from. At least to get it started. But I've come to realize that this yarn does not match it. So because the pattern says that you need to use a yarn that goes with a 4.5mm crochet hook, and that is what this yarn does. I'm not sure actually. This yarn calls for 4.5, so it is it doesn't really give a yarn weight on it, but I would say it's probably it's like a 3 weight yarn, but boarding towards a little bit thicker due to the fluff of the because it is a brushed acrylic. So Aran would be 3 weight, worsted would be 4 weight, right? But then also I have this chart. I found a chart that should help give you an indication if a hat is long enough. And according to that, I'm pretty close. But it doesn't feel like it. Oh no! Can you guys see what this is? Yarn knot. Fabric knot. So, I don't like that a lot at all. Which normally makes me cut the yarn and yes, the dreaded factory knot. Normally what I will do here is I will cut it and sew in thens. We'll have to think. Susan says she's made ribbed hats in bulky yarn and they work up fast. This is not bulky, unfortunately. But I'd imagine this could work up pretty fast also in a thicker yarn. So what will we do with you, factory knot? It might not be too bad. I think what I will do is I will try to crochet over it and see how it looks. And if it looks like, we'll frog and cut and weave in ends. Wait, this is actually the right yarn for doing that with. I can try that out. That was not being a bad idea. I'm not sure if that's a Russian knot, but apparently there is a system where you can cut the yarn and then you kind of like strand it. And I haven't tried that before. I should try that. Let's see, where is my scissors and darning needles? Amen. Here we go. It's not exactly helping with the yarn length that I have available. We will see if this actually works. I'm curious. So what you would do is basically you would thread it, and you would like the other half you would do the other opposite with, and you would kind of like intertwine them somehow. So the real question is if I can do that, if I know how to do that. I should be. So we need to untangle this a bit to actually get the needle in. Da-da. There we go. Then you would kind of like, I don't know, that would be the Russian one. This takes some concentration, ladies. I'm not sure of it either, but this is like a sort of magic knot joining one. So basically, one would do something like that. And then take the other end and do it similar to the other side. Now I hope I don't ruin my yarn. And you would basically do the same on the other side. Somehow. And they are simply like, then you would cut the edges and they would be like sort of co-joined. But I will honestly say they are sort of joined, but not very nicely. So I'll probably just do the pulling apart and say, nah, I'll weave in the ends. I know how that works. That is a winner all the time. I never tried that one before. I've just seen it and I'm like, okay, I have to give it a go because this yarn could actually probably do it. And my conclusion is I am definitely not good enough at it to give that a go. Susan says she used the magic knot and then bury and weave in the ends. Yeah. Yeah, that could be an option too, but I would still need to weave in ends regardless. Oh, I really hate this. Factory knots, the worst. So what I normally would do here is I would just take this yarn and I would attach it. Let's see, that would be that other end. Yeah, maybe next time. Maybe not on camera, I don't know. So I have my ends here and I can go weave them in a few. I will just make a small little knot on my ends. And what I do tend to do is first to weave them in when I'm done in this case, because in the event that I need to frog because I don't have enough yarn or whatever happens, then if I've weaved in those ends, I've basically made my project unfroggable because I've weaved ends so damn fancy. Like I use multiple rows back and forth and I don't know what. It's like my ends until today have never come undone. And I've tried once trying to frog over where I had already woven in ends, and I'm like, okay, I'll from now on always make sure that I will never have to frog when I weave in ends. Um, Good morning, Jay. It is 7:40 a.m. in New Hampshire. Yes, and it is 1:41 p.m. here in the Netherlands right now. So I am up early in the sense of US terms. Um, but the reasoning is that I have an appointment, um, a business appointment. Sounds fancy, huh? But I do have a business appointment with a company that I hopefully need to help do a few things for, and I need that since I am, as you all know, unemployed, and my unemployment benefits ran out. So I need to actually make money when my company is able to make money. I do like the freedom I have now, for not having to be at my boss's place and not having to, like, the best thing. It sounds crazy. Like, so there are two things about being. I guess we could say I'm self-employed right now, actually. Um, the worst thing is the fact that I don't have a set paycheck coming in once a month, being like, okay, you're gonna get this amount of money, and it's kind of pretty sure, right? But the worst thing about that part was the limitations. Like, you had to ask to get off work, and there wasn't a guarantee you could get off work and stuff like that. Where now I have the freedom to just say, well, I'm not going to work next week Friday because, well, I'm doing something elsewhere, and I don't need to ask for it. I'll just do it, right? Um, but the downside then is the fact that I never actually know what sort of paycheck I will see at the end of the month, because that all depends on how much work I've been able to source, for my own small business. Um, so yeah, there's a few things to consider there. We could make a new test fit once this has gotten all the way around, just to see where we are. The other hand, if it gets too long, it's not worse than you can just choose to make your own brim, right? I guess, because the um the bottom here is just a mirrored inside out. Round complete. Round complete. So one can say what they want, but it is really like starting to look like a hat, right? So I guess that's a part of the success factor. As I said, we do have my little friend here. What we can do is, let's see, I'll just, oh, I need the right window. Then I would need to turn on that. Oh, our friend here. We will test it on my little mannequin head friend and see where we go. Actually, it's starting to get there. He has a smaller head than I do. And for those wanting to look, this is the top. Ta-ta. I like him. Oh, I can definitely get more rounds. I'm not in doubt of that. I'm just, thinking about that. So, and the thing is, if he wanted to, he could always, like, if it gets too long, he can make like a little brim, I guess, or have it a bit slouchy on top. I do wonder how it would fit me. Let's try. I know it's likely going to be too small, which is okay. But it's really getting there, huh? So theoretically, if the strategy works, let's check the weight scale. I should only have used another 5 grams. Well, it wasn't too happy about me moving it around, so we can get... So I should have 20 left. If that's the case, I have 4 rounds left, probably more like 3. And then I still have a row of single crochets if that's what I want to do. 22! Here we go. We can do more rows. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I might end up being positively surprised about how much I've been able to get out of this. I thought I was not gonna make it. So again, what we'll do is, on top of that, first front post, I'll insert the hook from the back side, and because I can pull through the yarn, which makes this nice, smooth, almost seamless closing, we'll chain the 2 again, and then we'll work in front post double crochets in that first front post double crochet stitch, and that we do for 3 stitches, and then a 3 back post, 3 front post, 3 back post, etc., all the way around. It's definitely a game of yarn shaking. I will be 100% honest about that. So what I will do is, didn't I have an extra stitch marker laying around? I thought I did, but I might have put it away. Anyhow, I will insert it here, but that's just to keep me keeping track of the round a bit easier. But this round somehow used a bit less yarn than the previous round, which I'm not really sure why was, but we will see. We'll do one more round. 100. So that's like 3.5 ounces. So it's like a 3.5 ounce skein with about 220-ish, 22 maybe-ish yards in US terms. 100% brushed acrylic, so it's 100% acrylic. And it's like, I would say it's like a 3-weight yarn, but bordering a 4-weight because of the brushed effect. And it is a 5mm crochet hook. Now I just need to pay attention for a second because this is where we have the knot on the back side. Yep, we are good. Because we have these extra ends to weave in. And I started with a magic ring in top. You could probably also just do like a chain 4 and work it into that chain 4. What I do like about the magic ring is you can tie it close. Of course, you need to be friends with the magic ring, but I usually make them reasonably simple or easily. They don't give me much trouble. And I've also never had them come undone. Sorry about that. But yeah, it would be really nice if I, within the next hour, could finish up this and then have the yarn done and so on. Because that would be one more skein down in my yarn consumption project. And especially it would be really nice if I don't need to buy more yarn to accommodate. For new projects. It's been going pretty smooth. We are almost all the way around again. Part of me have then been thinking, should I get these brim tags? Like, the tags you can put on. On the one side, it looks really nice, and the other side, I'm like, is it necessary? Well, of course, it's nice for branding. And on that aspect, I'm actually working on a logo. Because I am actually likely to turn in this, what I'm doing here, into more of a business. To add on top of my other small businesses, I guess. but it would make sense to do so. Because the time I spent can also be used for deductions and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely been a thought of mine. Yeah, exactly. And I've been thinking on starting to sell my makes, probably set up a web shop. Um, I'm not a market type of person. I would probably not be doing markets that quickly. But what I have been considering, depending on, because sometimes I do go at events, and it can be that um, I have a stand with another part of business that I do. And what I could do is I could probably add these to the stand in the end, because the businesses would be sort of semi-combined. For bookkeeping purposes, it wouldn't make a difference. Nice. I am pretty happy so far. Let's see, just for the fun, how long are we? Well, I still say 7, but it's been kind of wrinkled up a bit. More interesting is the weight scale friend here. How much yarn do we have left? Technically, it should be 15 or more. And I'm more on 17, but let's see. 18. Definitely easily do another 2 rounds if we want to. 18. 18 grams. 18 grams. So, Susan, your guess was pretty close. Yep, we'll do one more round. And then I think I will do a fitting again to see just how it fits. But I do have the feeling we might just need to work it all up. And then, the yarn would be done. And you can easily fold it up if you're... So the thing is with this, you can probably also use it for a bit younger people. But you can then fold up the edges or the brim. Where if you're a little bit older, you would probably have a bit longer head. And then it would probably be fine. Is my thinking. I also still have quite a few things I would need to get blocked. But the challenges I have is right now with the move of my mom-in-law. My partner has things he had stored at her place on her attic, but it has to be cleared out, and she won't have room in her new apartment because it's going to be like a lot smaller. So right now we have boxes standing around, just simply due to, well, yeah. Need to figure out what to do with it. Oh, Sarah, welcome back. Sarah said that her phone died and she had to plug it into power. Yeah, definitely, I can imagine. Me and Susan kind of concluded we probably don't need to do a ribbing edge because it is sort of ribbed, so we might just like do a single crochet edge. And then I'm just probably going until the end. We are weighing for every row just to check if I can do another. And we are actually pretty close. We just started this row, like this is the start of the row. So when this round is complete, I will do another fitting. And we will see where we're at. Oops, I don't want you with me. And I had the dreaded factory knot, just in case if you didn't catch that either. I'm not sure how far or how long you were away. So I had a dreaded factory knot, which we cut, and I have some ends I need to sew in. And don't forget to hydrate. My tea is still very nice and warm. And the goal is to finish this within the next hour, because that's about the amount of time I have. And if I finish it before, we do have other projects I can work on. I'm all caught up on the sail and t-shawl, so I can actually work on that in case. Bit more than halfway. And it's just basically continuously 3 front post, 3 back post double crochets. So once you have increased enough to do this, it is a reasonably straightforward pattern, which is nice. That I will have to admit. And I also have to admit, I've never actually done any of those hats where you just crochet back and forth and then sew them together at the end. Never. I don't know why. I guess it's the thought of sewing or crocheting it together, but just generally, I do like the concept of just working it around and around and around. It makes things simpler. And we just need 3 back posts and we have this round complete. And that is, of course, 3 back post double crochets. Then, my friends, we are gonna measure the weight of the yarn, of what's left, and I'm going to fit this to see if it actually fits. Oh yeah, that also seems logic. So basically, Susan says back and forth, up and down beanies are fun and quick. Just slip stitch the back seam. I don't know why I've never done them. I guess I've never actually been a big beanie maker until as of late. But I guess it's also just more because I suddenly had the yarns for making some. This is what we are looking at right now. How much yarn do we have left? We had 18 just before we went from 22 to 18. So the logic should say we should be at 14, but it could also be 13 as less. Because obviously we used some yarn. Let's see. 14! 14! That fitted with the last round. I like that. So this means my judgment says we have enough yarn to do 2 more rows and a row of single crochets if you want to like edge it nicely. Roughly 4 grams per row. Yeah. Plus minus any optional stuff. So what I'll do is I'll just get the head view camera. It's a little bit poor quality. I do apologize because that's built in my computer. But let's just see how it fits me right now. Well, I would freeze my tiny ears, but not like a lot. But I would definitely freeze the bottom part. So I think the call is good. That we'll just work it up all the way to the end. And then make a row of single crochets. Exactly, it's almost covering this. I had not thought we would get here. Ladies, I had not thought we would get all the way here. And gentlemen, if there's any gentlemen watching, I do apologize if I called you a lady. So we'll go back to our working view. And just before I start working, I will enjoy something to drink. So my estimate is we have 2 rounds, maybe 3 left. But I still think it's wise to give it a little look every round. You know, after all, sometimes you can get nasty surprises, and I don't want us to have any nasty surprises. So we are starting on the next round. I also found, I think, a really good yarn for the spirograph beanie. That Backer Day put on the YouTube channel of us a couple of weeks ago that you guys were so kind to enlighten me to see. But I'm not sure if we will reach to get that done here in February. We'll have to take a look at that. Because there's a few other things that I'm working on. And then, as I said, I do have a business meeting this afternoon, and I don't know how much work that's going to be, but that is actually work that I know will be paying me for my time. And I will need to spend a bit of time of that so I can cover some real life expenses. And the quicker that project is done, the better, of course, because I'll get paid quicker and I just like to have things complete. A little challenging but fun, this paragraph beanie. Sounds good. I found a really nice yarn that's slightly thinner than this. And it's a bit color changing as well. Optionally, I do have a mandala cake. I think it's like the Lion Brand's mandala cakes, but it's a different brand. Ideally, I would once at some stage try to see if I could get an order from Lion Brands shipped here to my doorstep and compare some yarns that I have, which I think are the same and probably at this side of the ocean cheaper, and actually make reviews of them on YouTube. That is an idea I have. And then sometimes there are also just yarns that you really like to feel for yourself, because obviously I think if you're real yarn addicts, I'm sure, because you guys don't know this yarn on the other side of the pond either, you would love to feel this if you could. Right? Like, it's always nice to feel alternative yarns and get an idea of how they are. I do have a few yarns in my stash that I did get from the US. There was somebody that was so kind to send me some, which was kind of awesome. Makes me feel really blessed when that happens. Do, 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 do. Oops. I have also made an order for some materials and molds, because I want to try and make my own buttons. I have a single project or two laying around where I actually need buttons, but I like the idea of being able to make my own, either and you can embed all sorts of stuff in them, everything from yarn scraps to other things. I really like that idea. So that is something I'm also probably going to be fiddling with the coming time. But first, I need to receive it, and that will probably be a little bit yet to go. But then I have the opportunity to impact it and basically make your own colors and stuff like that. Yeah, I like the idea. Guess what, ladies? This round is complete. We can weigh again, and now I estimate that we should have 8 grams of yarn left. That would be the logic. 10 would be nice. 10 would be nice. Realistically, it's probably 8 based on 18, like 22, 18, 14. Well, then 10. Yeah, well, we'll see. My dear friend, how much yarn do you give me? It says 11. Could also be that the weight scale is not standing well. So let's just recycle it for a second. It still says 11. Oh goodness, oh goodness. Well, we can do one more row, which is what we will do. And the real question is, once we get lower, will there be enough, like will 2 grams will be enough to do a row of single crochets around? I might doubt that. I might doubt that. Well, we will have to see. We will have to see if and what. But yes, 10 to 11 grams. Da, da, da. The good thing is we are finishing this one on today's live. So I think what we'll do is we'll finish this row. We'll weigh the yarn. Assess if we think we could do one more row before a row of single crochets, but also we may need to just do a quick temp fit just to see if we really want to play yarn checking with the extra row, depending on what the weights say, right? Because I technically I'd expect it to give us like 6 grams left. And yes, it's amazing feeling to finish a project, but not only to finish a project, it's another finished skein, which means my stash is being decreased. And given the fact that we got a bunch of stuff from my mom-in-law that needs room because, well, basically it never moved out when my partner moved out from home X amount of years ago. Like, one of them, like, we have three three totes filled with Donald Duck magazines from when he was a child. Like, the whole year edition of 1987, even older. We just don't know where to place them right now. Because the attic is kind of full. So we really need to, I guess, go through some things, and yeah, including me. I have way too much yarn here and there, and I can easily just use some of the yarn before ordering new. Just means that I need to, on some aspects, be a little bit more decisive on my projects. Like, a lot of my yarn is cakes, shawls. I can make plenty of shawls, and I do have some yarn as well that I can make sweaters and ponchos from. Probably even hats if I wanted to. And I have a West project planned, which requires buttons, which I was thinking I wanted to try and make myself. Because it would be kind of extremely awesome, right? Then it would be like 100% handmade. That's kind of nice idea. I like that. We're about halfway around. Da, 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 da. So this is what we have left. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 stitches. Then we can weigh. And then we can weigh it up and see how far we got. Six more stitches, 6 more double crochets, either front post or back post. And the last 3 back posts. And then we'll just quickly put it through in the event that we do one more row. So technically, a single crochet should take half the yarn of a double crochet. Hello Maritza, Jan and Kras, welcome to this live. We are getting closer here on this. We are working on the yarn chicken and weighing. So theoretically I should have 6 grams of yarn left. This is the yarn I have left. Oh, I should not touch the weight scale. It says 7. So I can do one more row. But I also maybe want to finish that with a row of single crochets, right? So what we probably should do is fit. So we'll just flip this camera around and I'll try this one. It's going to be tight for me and I know it, and that's fine. It's just to get an idea. So, whoops daisy. Oh. I do have some. Oh my goodness. Look at this. My ears are covered. Well, barely, but just. The multi-million-dollar question, 7 grams, do we make one more row and then a row of single crochets? Is there enough yarn for that? Technically, I would say yes, but it looks like very, very little, doesn't it? It does look like very little. I would say size-wise, this is probably more like a small to medium than anything else. But yeah. I'm not unsatisfied. I'm also not unsatisfied. My friends, let's see if we can make it a full row. And then also still add a row of single crochets. But one thing is for sure, this will be the very last row of front post doubles, back post doubles, because we don't have that. One more row. And then the real question is if there will be enough for doing the single crochet rows. But I think I am reasonably satisfied with the outcome of this still. Okay, so what I should do instead of looking wildly for it is I'll just insert my stitch marker to quickly see where I started the row. And then the big question will be, how far we get around. But time will show. Just one more row to go. Nightbots makes us aware that we should say check Amanda's channel if you aren't a member of hers. She had her birthday stream last night. Oops. I almost lost my stitch. I think we do indeed have enough. We definitely have enough for the double crochets all the way around. And then with a bit of luck, we should also have enough yarn for a row of single crochets. And then I think we can call this project complete once I've sewn an ends, which is like overly cool because it would then be a finished project and a finished skein of yarn. Amazing. Susan says she went to sleep when it was 4 a.m. Amanda's time. She loves late night streams. Yeah, she does. I can't do that. Two reasons basically. One reason is I'm generally just not awake that late. I am a quite late owl in the sense of I often go to bed first when it's towards like 1 a.m. But I do have a partner that's also at home. And I don't want to disturb him. Because the place I stream is also kind of the place where he is. So generally I don't stream when he's home. And right now he's at work, so he doesn't get disturbed by me streaming. So that is why I tend to stream in my afternoons. That would be your mornings during weekdays because he's at work. And currently I'm not because, well, I am unemployed / self-employed, looking for opportunities, but it has to be the right one. Da, da, da. Realizing I'm getting out of frame actually because I tend to crank up towards myself. I really shouldn't. I'm sorry about that. We'll get back more to the table. Don't even know why I do that. Probably because it kind of eventually relaxes my shoulders, even though this also relaxes my shoulder. It's just a bit different. almost all the way around, I see. Which means that we can probably weigh and measure and see if it would be realistic to do a row of single crochets. And regardless of what, that will be the end because there's no more yarn. So the real question now is, how many grams do I have? I should have 3, but it could also just be 2. It says 4, but I have a hard time believing 4 would be now to do another round. So I'll just do the single crochets now because there's really not a lot left, as you can see. But it did say 4, which means that in any case I'll have some left, but that will go to my scrap pile. And depending on how much, how little, I do have a little bag of scrap yarns as well, which I use for I guess filling if I want to make an amigurumi at some stage or something like that. Which reminds me, I actually have some leftover chenille yarns, which is like so little I could probably just make it like a small turtle or something like that with it, which I probably should do one day. But it's all of these, not in a rush to do so yet. Crab stitch? I don't know if I'll have enough yarn to do that, to be honest. I think I'll just have enough yarn to do the single crochet. I should know what the crab stitch is. I probably do when I see it. I'm not really good with names. I'll be honest and say. Ah, it's a reversed single crochet. Gotcha. Gotcha. Any case, what we will start by doing is let's make just a round of single crochet. And then we will see. And by any means, we'll just start by getting the height of a single chain. And then we have our first single crochet here. We'll insert a little stitch marker. And then we will single crochet our way around. And it could be that we could do the reversed one. But I definitely don't want to gamble to see if we can do another round of doubles. Because I highly doubt that would be possible. Looks nice just like this also. We will see. It feels all weird just doing single crochets when you have done this many front post, back post doubles. You can also slip stitch all the way around if you want that type of edging. That's also a possibility. That would take even less yarn. Guess we can see what the yarn weighs when we got all the way around. Dun, 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 dun. Not sure. It's getting a lot less yarn. Definitely not sure. Do, do, do. If I counted correctly, I should have 72 stitches all the way around, by the way, for those being curious. And it's been a quite nice yarn to work in, this Sarah from Vibra. It's been a few times in the beginning I had to do a little bit of frocking because first I did the 4.5mm crochet hook and my conclusion was it was a little bit too tight and I was not sure if it was even gonna have a decent size, so I opted to crochet hook, like upsize the hook to the 5mm, because also I do know that I'm a slightly bit more, my tension is tighter than the average. So I did upsize the hook a bit, and then I frocked for that, and it's been good to frock for a fluffy yarn, and um, that was quite nice. Let's see, so we can't actually all the way around, so technically we should have like 2 grams left, but it's a little, very little. It says 2, but I'm sure it's closer to a 1.5. This is now, I would like to have a weight scale that was measuring in, this only measures in grams, not like 0.x grams. Looking at this, maybe I can slip stitch all the way around, but I don't think I have enough yarn to actually do a crab stitch. So the real question is, should one slip stitch around to give it a nice outside edge border, or should I just leave it like this? You tell me. You tell me. This is what we're looking at. So should I give it a, sorry for the funny end, I could actually just take this because it's ta-ta. But should I give it a row of slip stitches just to edge it, or should I just weave in ends and then say, well, that goes to the scrap pile? I will try it on. Give me a minute. I'm heading off the headset. And the conclusion is still, for me, it's a tight fit, because so if I were to do this for myself in this yarn, I would probably option to do one more, like, so to have the starting, instead of having 12, I will probably do 13, because it's a bit tight, but it's workable. It's still the feeling that it just actually barely covers my ears. It's close, right? It's either or for the slip stitch row. So the thing is, if I do the slip stitch around, I probably don't have anything for my scrap basket, which is nice because I don't know what else to combine this little yarn with. So I like the idea of finishing this up in the slip stitch row way. And if I don't have enough, I'll frog it back and we'll just weave in the end. I think that's what, if I'm a gambling person, I would try slip stitches. And Sarah finds it looks great either way right now. That's nice, thank you. Well, to some extent, gambling, yes. I think the amount of gambling for this is foreseeable because it's not a lot, right? It's worst case, it's 71 slip stitches and I don't have enough yarn to weave in the ends, or 72 slip stitches. That's like the risk. Which I think is foreseeable because in worst case I'll just frog it and weave in the end and conclude that wasn't enough. Weight wise, technically I should just be able to pull it off. The risk is I might not have enough yarn to weave in the ends. But I think I will try. Just for the sake of trying. Or just because I can. Would be another way of saying it. But it is less work to, like, it is froggable yarn. So I'm just making an edge of slip stitches and then I'll weave in ends. Hopefully. Well, for me it's yarn checking for sure. Can we at least pray for me not needing to frog and it's just gonna be a perfect outcome? Because I would really love for this to actually succeed. Because of course then I don't feel I've wasted 72 slip stitches time. And the fact that I don't need to add so little to my scrap basket is also amazing. Which I'll probably just work up in some sort of, I don't know, mixture or something, but yeah. I have an idea of combining yarns for some other projects. So like you can turn the yarn bulky that way, or in any case, somewhat thicker, right? So far, I would say it's going nice and smooth. And I do like the slip stitch etching. It just like if you compare it to before the slip stitches and after, it is a little bit cleaner. And it's just a tiny bit cleaner. Not much, but just a bit. Do, do, do. My journey back into crocheting a couple of years ago. I thought I was doing single crochets, and in fact I was actually slip stitching. And don't ask me how I managed to finish a project like that. And then I realized that wasn't working, and then I realized what single crochets were. But instead of using both loops, I actually just used the front loop. That was my first project. And when I realized that, I kind of fixed a lot of things. And we got back on track. That is why my first ever make looked a bit funky. I do still have the pattern. It's a chicken, which I made for Easter. And now in hindsight, I should probably try and make it again, just different yarn, because obviously I don't have the same yarn. It could be fun to do and compare my ugly chicken to the chicken as it would look today without those mistakes. Some of it I even frogged, and it was a poor quality acrylic and all that stuff, but you know, I think you're right. Look here. Look how close we are. This is amazing. And I'd say there's almost a little yarn left that it's not even worth putting in my scrap basket. I'll just add it to my I have a bag of scraps which I use for filling in amigurumis. And with this little left, I'll probably just add it to that, because I don't even know if it would be worth trying to add this to another project, like lengthwise. Probably not. So it seems that I have one yarn chicken. Awesome. Look here. Susan suggests I definitely need to try and make my chicken again. I might. But it will be a bit of time before I can do so, because I have a few other things I need to do first. I won. Yarn chicken. But this is the amount of yarn I have left, which is probably about a meter, like a bit more than a yard. Ta-da! I won! This is now I'm supposed to do all these happy emojis, like, ooh. Let's sew in some ends. I have 4 of them. And I have stomach that tells me that it's wanting some lunch, late lunch. That is to say, I did have late breakfast. So I'll just probably grab it a single slice of bread before my meeting, which I should have enough time for. So, but yes, let's sew in this end. With a seamless join. Awesome. Oh my goodness. I do apologize if you hear any earthquakes in the background. That would just be my stomach saying that it's lunchtime. I'm as we make grilled cheese sandwiches in the Netherlands. I must admit I'm not a big cheese fan, so I actually don't know. But the Dutch are cheese people. Like my partner, if he makes toast, like a grilled toast, he could do that just with cheese and have 0 regrets. Where I could do it just with ham and have 0 regrets. I'm just not a cheese person. Or not a big cheese person, I guess. Da, da, da. So we are going back and forth, weaving in some ends here. Thank you. I'm quite happy. We finished a project. Awesome. I used up a skein. Awesome. We won yarn chicken. Awesome. Actually, it's a pretty awesome day. Whoa. It's a great Monday. The only thing is that it's a little bit too chilly for me outside, but you know, that's how it is. But I'm actually pretty satisfied with this Monday. And I got some towels washed and or in the dryer and so on. They should be in the dryer, so they should actually be dry by now. And I should probably just turn this inside out for a minute because we have some yarn ends still to take care of. Just before we forget. And I vacuum cleaned upstairs before I went live. I feel like a good woman. Like I've accomplished stuff today. So the only thing is my partner would probably not consider finishing up a beanie an accomplishment of the day. The rest he would definitely approve of. But that's just because he's not a crocheting person. He gets that I crochet. He gets it's a hobby of mine. He's fine with it. But he doesn't really care much. I've only made one item that he's using, which is a bread basket we use for like when we do bake-off breads or get breads from the bakery and so on and put them on the table. Anything else he's like, nah. Yeah, I hope my meeting will be done by then because I have a meeting in about half an hour. And given the fact that I probably love some lunch before then, we're just finishing by sewing in the ends, and I'll do a quick test fit for you guys, and that's gonna be it. But I do have a few ends just to finish up sewing in here. What I tend to do with this circle is basically I take the end of the magic ring and I'll just sew it around and around and around and around. Until today, I've never had them come undone. But yes, hobby bingo to get some bonus points so that I can get more free yarn at my birthday next year. Or whenever. Is a I like idea. So we only have this year left, which is where the yarn knot were. So we need to sew in these ends, which is I'm absolutely cool with. And then we are done and we can fit just to see where we are at. How did that go? Probably it will go in there. Yeah, that looks good. Thing is, I never win in hobby bingo, but I do win a lot of points. 25 points, 25 points, 25 points. Like if you look at my hobby account right now, there's lots of 25 points wins. And I have a feeling I'm probably not the only one. But of course, for them to give us 25 points is pretty easy. I have a feeling I should just somehow go a bit opposite direction. Just to ensure we won't get undone, which it probably still won't, but... I like being 100% sure. Just watch for them to not expire. They do expire every 2 years. I used mine. I have plenty of hobby orders. I have like more than 23, some odd, 24, I don't know, 20 plus orders. I also documented yarn holds for, etc. So I do have a fair amount of hobby yarns in my stash. And of course, I also get points for those orders. So yes, I do have some of their free yarns. Sarah says she used her points for the wool soap. How did you find it? Because I have been eyeballing that woolen soap, but I haven't done it because I'm like, I'd rather have free yarn. So I'd love to hear how you found the woolen soap. Like, do you think it was worth the points? Not the way I want to do it. You haven't tried it yet. Yeah, okay, fair enough. But yeah, I've been considering getting the woolen soap at some stage for my points too. That would be nice. Thank you very much. Because I see that I can buy it in web shops here too, and it's pretty expensive. And the one you get from Hobby is just like a small tester. And I do have a few projects that consist, like this one, for example, my poncho. It's alpaca. So need to be mindful of how it gets washed. I did get myself like a detergent that should be wool friendly, but I honestly don't know yet because I haven't really tried it. So we're almost done because this is the very last end that we are sewing in. Which is also like a winner. So what we'll do now is we will cut that very last end here. Check. This is the yarns I have left, including cut ends. I think that's fair enough just to put that into my basket. So this is how the inside looks now after ends weaving in. See, I need to find, that's my camera view. But that's why I said, you know, you really need it on the outside. That looks nicer because you have this. Ta-ta! We finished a project successfully. Awesome. I'm happy. I am definitely happy with this result. the yarns I have left. That is fair enough. It goes to my, I have a little bag here of scraps. This is like weaving in ends, tails, etc. Or when I cut off yarn knots, it goes in here. And then that goes into an amigurumi at some stage when I need some filling. Use everything, it's better for the environment. At least, is the idea. So we will move this one. Then we will go back up to my sweet pretty face, hopefully. Like that. And we will test this one on, just to see how it looks. Just to see how it looks. And yes, the outside looks nicer, but that has to do with how, I guess, you take out and so on. Ooh. And look at this, you can barely see where the edge is. It's pretty seamless. Like, I could probably find it if I really looked for it, but it doesn't matter. The only downside is now when I slip stitch around, that make the fit a little tighter. But it still fits. I would say for me the fit is too tight, so this is like a small sized, but it does cover ears. So I'd say it's a small medium, maybe teener, but it works. It's nice. I like it. Good result. Happy. We can test our friend here because that should fit better. Yep, it does. Well, he gets covered. But even if it does like that, there's a bit of air up here. That would be kind of okay. So I would say we are definitely a small to medium and not large because I know that I have a large head. I'm happy. I'm happy. We won yarn chicken. Whoo. Love it. So what I will have to do now is basically I will have to get going because in 20 minutes I have a meeting and I'd really like a quick bite of food as well before that meeting. I need to use the toilet, etc. So I'm going to say thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It was absolutely a wonderful time. I'm going to say take care and happy crafting until I see you all again. And I will, if everything goes well, be back on Wednesday with another live in your mornings around this time. I should definitely be live on Wednesday, unless something happens that causes my plans to change, as always. So hopefully I will see you all on Wednesday. In case, take care and yeah, happy crafting until see you again. Bye.